other capabilities like that, but also event management and some other tools that are all wrapped into one place so that you can start to manage an online event in a different kind of way, and then to push that content through into the virtual reality space. So if you have a headset, you'd be able to access a fully immersive environment, or if you don't have a headset but you just want to access via the laptop or your computer or even your phone, you could actually also do that as well.
Yeah, can we take a little tour of your virtual reality world?
Sure, like we can go
Now,
and see the new Dolphin Touch Wellness Center where we would be potentially hosting something. I'll just see if I can go to screen share. You got to enable my screen, me to
yeah,
do a...
so let's see what I am, let's see my screen share.
I think you have to go to screen share and then enable me as a person to do that.
Screen share. No, that's not. I have to make you a, let's see, what do? I have to make you a host.
Sure.
I'll make you a host. So now you're the host, so you should be able to screen share.
Okay, great. Okay, so
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
So we're in an area of Emerald City called the Tranquility District, which is where your space is. And there's this kind of blue orb, which is there in the front, which gives us an idea of where your location is. But if I just move my mouse around,
I'm in here too. I'm in.
No, you would need to go in. You could come and meet me if you wanted to open another page, and your avatar would be able to come and see me or to come and meet me. But I'm not using my virtual reality headset right now, but I'm just using essentially the computer, my laptop, to be able to navigate. And the Dolphin Touch Wellness Center is kind of here by the seashell, but it's actually underwater.
That is so cool. And even the look of it. So how many buildings do you have in your virtual reality world?
Oh, I mean, there are hundreds of buildings, but what we're doing is we're really developing special properties for people and for partners. So you can see over here is our Burning Man camp. There's a beach over that hill. There's a memorial. There's all sorts of things. There's like a Reiki hedge for like examining and experiencing Reiki, and just lots of different things. The way that you kind of access this is that you're able to turn off gravity, and I can kind of go down into this
cool.
world. So we have our dolphins there for Dolphin Touch, and this is just sort of like a beautiful kind of like meditation and working space for contemplation. And it has the capability for us to really just kind of enjoy the dolphins under the water, and to be able to access video. So you'd be able to access a video feed here. The video screens aren't in yet, but they're coming soon. And so this call that we're on, like Zoom, it's like we would be able to access a call similar to that within this environment. And yeah, it's just our little undersea Lemurian lair.
So cool. Yes, it's really awesome. It takes people into an altered state of consciousness in the sense that it's holding that space and that dimension for expansion of consciousness, and the symbolism and everything else is perfect. The colors.
Yeah, so it
really
is
neat.
like a kind of beautiful space for this kind of contemplation. And there's like a meditation sphere here, which we're still working on developing a little bit more, where you'll be able to like access a sound meditation here, and to be able to go in and click, say, onto a pyramid and be able to receive an experience. You can see I'm just kind of like floating up, and then it kind of like lets me glide back down. So you don't have to do a lot to be able to like change your view. Like just by changing the position of my mouse, I change my perspective. And so it is like a more three-dimensional type of internet experience. And, you know, this could be a gathering place where you could have, you know, 100 people coming here to listen to a retreat lecture or just to network with each other. If you were to come in now, I'd be able to see a sphere of your avatar, and all the avatars are these kind of nifty little spheres, and then you can click that sphere and chat to the other person. So it is interactive in a way with the other people who are there, almost like a game, but not really a game because it's open-ended, and it's really more about networking and discussion and learning.
And plus it's live. It's not like a pre-recorded thing, you know, it's happening live, and you can interact with people live and even speak to them, right? You showed me someplace where there's a dialogue, like a dialogue box pops up, and I could,
yeah,
we could communicate.
Yeah, you would have to come and join me here. But yeah, once you came into this space, I would be able to see you, and then I can just click on you and be able to see.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then when I want to leave here, I turn off the gravity, and I'm going to go floating up. Oh, you notice that there's some stars there?
Yeah.
So it has like its own kind of starry sky.
I love that. Cool. I love that.
Yeah. Constellations. But I'm going to come up, and then you can notice that I come back. I'm now back in this quote unquote physical world.
Can you show people the memorial? You know, just to for people to get a feel of the video and how that works.
Sure. Well, so we can come here. If I come straight ahead to the education district, these are two university campuses, one for the University of Hawaii and one for American University in Washington, D.C. And so these are almost like virtual classrooms where a group would be able to come in and have an experience around education. And we're working with these universities to kind of get these classrooms open and available for students to be able to access a lecture or meet with a professor if they wanted to in a virtual way. Back in the background there's a Montessori school that we've built that has the world's first virtual Montessori education program being developed, and for really children ages 6 to 12.
They're going to be so amazing, those children.
You know, it is like a different world that we're moving into here, right? So we need to be able to think about things in a new way and to experience them in new ways. And, you know, as usual, the biggest obstacle is bandwidth. So our ability to run something like this on the open internet still kind of difficult because you need to have good bandwidth to be able to really run the experience. But this is also a breakthrough in the sense that you don't need very much in order to be able to do it. You don't need anything special in terms of software. You can just access it on the open internet. And we're gonna come.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's easy to just pop in. You just enter your password and you have access into that world, and then you just take it and get to play around in that world. And I find you really get lost in it when you've been in there long enough. You know, you really get.
Well, there's a lot to see. So it's like a real city in the sense that there's different things, and we're constantly building. So the wellness center is just the latest building that's been created, the latest property that's been created. This is a company headquarters for a technology company called Cognizant. They're one of our partners. And I can kind of come up the steps here into this building and then come into this screen and access, in this case, a video. And I can even
Augmented
access
reality promises to make all the world,
other content,
including work, a stage for immersive experiences. So which view is the right view? What's on the horizon? What's the real reality of augmented reality, and how will it affect the future of work? We partnered with Oxford Economics to ask 300 senior leaders about the current
so
and
it's cool
expected
because this like
dynamics
can
of the AR
continue,
world. We
but
also
I can
conducted
move
a focused
around.
half-day roundtable session at Berkeley's Haas School of Business to capture lessons learned from industry practitioners.
And even kind of leave.
In short, AR is happening fast, it's happening now, and timing is everything.
Spaces and places are going to be important for the future of work. And with augmented reality,
You can
they're
see
going to
that the video
and maybe coming soon to a town near you,
moves.
just like here at Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they took an
Right,
and converted it into a state-of-the-art space for augmented immersion.
So even if I move around, this audio experience stays with me. So you can be in the room and you can be experiencing either a live call
Game of Thrones fans,
or something like that.
With the George R.R. Martin connection.
But you know, I got to come back to turn this off. Right, if I want. And then if I want to go to another video, it'll take me into that. So it is pretty cool, like the things that we can do. These live calls that we're on, like Zoom, there's something similar to that where we can actually access a Zoom call in one of the boardrooms, or be able to take people on a kind of journey around that.
So cool. Well, my intention is to take people on an experience where they can connect with Kauai. So like the pyramids that you had set up would be like different sacred sites on Kauai. And maybe, you know, we'd expand it further down to like other islands, you know, sacred sites on the Big Island and different experiences. And so what's nice too is that we could show a video of dolphins underwater, and maybe they can't be in the water with the dolphins, but they can have this virtual experience that connects them with the dolphins. And you know, there is this time and space, so we're able to really feel the energy and vibration of the dolphin to connect that to people and to let them experience it on that level.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
cool.
there's a lot of potential with all of this. You can see I'm kind of coming into this high-rise. This is our tech high-rise center. And
nice. I like the
come in
design.
and then turned on my gravity, and I'm basically now in like a boardroom.
Oh,
And
look at that. That's cool.
yeah, and so it's pretty funny because I can look out and look at the view here from the building. And you got to remember, if you have virtual reality glasses, this is even more incredible because it feels real. You know, it's like truly a virtual experience.
I may have to get some virtual reality glasses.
Yeah, it's still a lot of fun just being able to navigate. I can click on the map here and be able to pull a number of locations. So if I want to go maybe here.
I love the fashion industry. The fashion district.
Our fashion boulevard. Yeah.
Fashion Boulevard, yes. And that's
So there's
another
a lot
way
of things coming. You know,
yeah.
we're working on even the concept of like a virtual nightclub and different entertainment spaces. But it really is about people being able to use the experience themselves and to be able to kind of build their own experience eventually within it from a content perspective, whether it's a class or something else. But the physical infrastructure is very similar in the sense that it is somewhat fixed, and it's something that you know, we build it once and then it hopefully will be relevant and useful for a while for a person.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I love that, you know, like in the fashion district, people can go into a store, and like Gucci or one of those, and purchase products. You can look at the different products, and it's a different experience than just going on Amazon and ordering something. You know, it's like you could see it three-dimensionally. Maybe you could see the back of the dress, the front of the dress. You know, that's pretty cool. That this experience is almost like you were there, as close to being there as you can imagine.
Well, I like to think of it as a different kind of experience. It's like a different kind of dimension. You know, you spoke about 5D earlier, and the idea that you could have a varying range of dimensional experiences is kind of fun, right? So,
Absolutely, absolutely,
you
yeah.
know, I think this is the beginning. In 20 years or 10 years time, all of these things
Hmm.
are going to become more merged together, and augmented reality will layer over physical reality. Physical reality will be augmented with content. We're very close to that. You'll have glasses or ways of seeing things. You know, when you look out into the ocean, you might see a virtual reality dolphin going by.
Speaking of which, so that is so amazing, and it's just, I think it's going to be the wave of the future. I really think there's going to be a lot of potential with what you've created, Stan, and your crew at HubCulture. And yeah, I think it's going to be amazing, like taking things to another level. It's so funny because my kids were obsessed, especially my son, with video games, and now here I am playing with this virtual reality video game myself.
Well, it's all about open-ended activity, because for it to be useful in the world of, you know, business or the world of adults in a way, it becomes not just about a closed loop fantasy, but more about open loop utility. And so being able to drive content in, to be able to create an experience that's meaningful for people, you know, that's what we're about. And as a social network, we're focused on helping to enhance collective consciousness. And so this is just another way for us to get another step closer to those kinds of openings for people, and try to help guide them toward something. Like, we didn't go look at the Shoku-rei, but you know, if the person
Yeah.
was in there and they knew what a Shoku-rei was, they could actually find that, and then they could navigate it. And the intention there is to be able to turn on and run energy in a virtual environment in a completely new way. So who knows, maybe you'll be doing some of your sessions there.
Oh, I certainly hope so. Yes, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's just to get so the Shoku-rei is the symbol. It's a Reiki symbol. It's the first symbol you learn. And Stan has turned it into almost like a hedge, if you will, where you're walking through this maze of the Shoku-rei, and it's kind of a meditation just to go through that. And you're building the energy as you move forward. So that is really, really cool. Yeah, very cool. So many amazing things. Yeah, it's just going to take, I can't even imagine what it's going to be even a couple of months from now, 6 months, a year, whatever.
Yeah, it continues to grow every day.
No, I'm very excited. And so our retreat, so we're going to do a virtual reality retreat, and we're going to have things set up in there, and taking people into that world and doing meditations and transmissions and activations and different experiences, and then showing video of different sacred sites on Kauai as they go to this particular place. And that's going to be super, super fun. Very excited to do that.
Yeah,
So sweet.
when will the retreat be? In November or December?
Yeah, well, now that you know the virtual reality world is up and live, yeah, probably in December. We're looking at the first week of December. Probably it's going to look like the best time to do that. And we're navigating as to how to bring groups into that virtual reality world, and you know, showing them. And yeah, we'll see. It might be like a Zoom call like this is, and then having everybody experience it, or having everybody individually experiencing. We're kind of working on out the kinks on that. But
Great.
yeah, stay tuned. So I would love, so, you know, talked a little bit about Stan coming to Kauai, which was divinely orchestrated. He had no idea. He thought you were just going to stay here for 2 weeks. And now it's been 6 months.
Yeah, the original intention was to come for just a couple of weeks, but it's worked out to be able to do a lot of our work globally from here. And I have a team that's distributed. We're in Bermuda, London, India, Ukraine, LA. So, you know, people are really all over the world, Hong Kong. And so, you know, it's just another time zone to add into the mix with our remote working team. But a lot of what we're doing is around technology and development and moving the concept of how we embed AI, conscious AI into the work that we're doing, managing our hedge fund around digital currency and digital assets, and hoping to see growth in that, and then just running the core business, right, which is all about serving our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've already served Kauai with a number of things. There's some projects like Reset and some other projects that you've been working on here to support Kauai, so that's been awesome.
Yeah, we've been really active around a project called Aqua, which is stands for the Active Quarantine User Ally. It's a type of technology that uses a bracelet like this to help you manage quarantine, and it connects to your phone with an app, and it enables you to basically set your quarantine location in a place, and these two things work together, and you can basically manage your health information, you can manage quarantine data, you can actually travel in a kind of hassle-free way, and then it will link the location proximity from your bracelet and your wearable to the phone and help you manage your quarantine. But it also does much more than that. We're just launching incentives and a bunch of other things to help the users be able to have a better travel experience internationally. And that's core to a lot of our principles with HubCulture. It's a very global group, a very global community of people who tend to be overachievers. And so anything to help get people moving again and out in the world safely is, really welcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it might be more important than ever. I mean, I know we opened Kauai, but we're up to, I think it's 7 cases, and there's, who knows, we might shut down again. We don't know what's happening here. So every day is a new thing. So even though we're open, we might shut. And then London, you said, is shutting down. I heard Germany is shutting down.
Another month of lockdown, and Paris is closing.
Yeah, so definitely, something that is needed. At least this gives people an option.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, what?
No, I mean, we want to put the data in the control of the end user so that you are controlling that information and not necessarily a government, and that you have the data privacy and the data protection rights. And that's a major reason why we did this project with Aqua, is to make sure that people would be able to hold on to that, because there's a lot of things eroding data privacy, or the idea of the growth of the surveillance state. And so in a world where we're going to need to be tracking like location related to health, we would really like to put forth models that put that into the control and power of the end user.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's going to be more powerful than ever. I mean, with all this pre-testing and post-testing, it'd be nice if it was all in one place. I know that people have to show like confirmation that they got a negative COVID, but even here, like at our wellness center, it'd be great if they had the data. I mean, we ask, can you show us that you have a negative COVID-19 test and all that? And how nice if it would be all on an app.
Just load that right into the app. It's free for anyone to use. And the quarantine side is one thing, but the health verification and test verifications are all pretty easy to manage, and you can ask your doctor to verify it and submit a request. So it's really great for being able to manage your COVID test certifications in a way that is easy to access and easy to use.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a great service for a lot of people. It's an awesome product. Another awesome product, Stan. So so you've had all this connection to Dolphin Touch and Kauai and all of these things, and then you had this. I mean, I know you've had some amazing experiences. How was the Reiki 1 and 2 class for you? Just a quick, how was that experience? Has it changed you in any way? Has shifted things in your life? What have you experienced through the Reiki training that I helped facilitate for you?
Well, I think for me, had always an interest in Reiki from having had Reiki done on me in yoga or other things in the past, or when we did the Innovation Campus in Bermuda a couple of years ago, we had a Reiki healer who was doing sessions for people. And so was able to personally experience the power of running energy on myself. And so I always felt like through my meditation and yoga work, had a little bit of a feel for Reiki, but I didn't really understand it and I didn't have an attunement. And so being able to go through that process with you was great because I was able to refine that a little bit and then to get the attunement and to be able to run energy in a stronger way, which I think is really amazing. The difference, if you're sensitive to these kinds of things, the difference before and after the attunement is physically noticeable. So that's pretty interesting. And now that I've done 3 attunements, it's pretty interesting to see how the physical, the emotional, and the remote all kind of interplay together. And the more you use it, the stronger it seems to get, the more you're able to become sensitive to the feel of it. And it's a really wonderful thing to be able to help another person with a Reiki session or some help for whatever the ailment may be, whether it's emotional or physical. And I think that it's an important part of the context of even leadership, like within our organization and the technology that we're putting out into the world. We want that consciousness of our technology to be imbued with a kind of integrity, and being able to understand things like Reiki and advanced forms of accessing consciousness is, I think, one of the really big next waves of tech. Like, how do we build technology that can actively facilitate the opening and expansion of people's minds and consciousness? And so, we're just experimenting with lots of things, like how do we train our AI in these areas? How do we bring Reiki into the technical virtual world? How do we bring people together in ways that help them expand their consciousness in ways that they wouldn't have expected? And then even theoretically, how do we push people into new areas, or not even push, but just help to open the doors that they can walk through to be able to get to enhanced or different consciousness states. And if we can build the frameworks and the platforms that make that possible for people, then hopefully we're doing some good in the world.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I know that you've done some Reiki on some people, and they've had some experiences. You've had some feedback from them about their experience.
Generally been very positive. Yeah, I mean, I've had positive feedback from people. I mean, it's hard to, pinpoint somebody specifically because I don't necessarily want to call them out. But like, I've had a few really interesting experiences with it over the last couple of months. People really responding to the feeling of it, and I think being surprised by it, especially remote. I think for me the biggest surprise has been that you can do remote Reiki, that you could be here in Kauai and be sending energy to another person. But I mean, it fits with a lot of religions and the idea of prayer. It fits with some elements of quantum physics and the idea that you can move energy across a space-time continuum, that things exist on a probabilistic state and the quantum field. So for me, it's really interesting to think about how things like quantum physics start to wrap into the way that we exist in the physical plane, like what you would call the third dimension. And then the interesting thing starts to become, how do you reliably access fourth and fifth dimension capabilities, and how do you build concrete pathways or learnings that can be replicated? That's what tech is about, is creating scalable solutions that can be repeated. And so I think for me personally, Kauai in general has felt like getting a master's degree in something. I don't know what, but the idea that you could be learning here and then embedding some of that into the technology is a really radically new direction. And I think it's really exciting because it's going to give us a level of integrity and depth that we maybe didn't have before. It's not just enough to be building technology or trying to make money. You really need to be trying to improve the state of the world. And I think, unfortunately, like, I don't think climate will be solved without a change in consciousness. For us, we're very focused on climate as a social network because our digital currency is backed partially by carbon, makes it an environmental asset. Part of the proceeds of Emerald City go towards funding reforestation in the Amazon. But I don't think that consciousness can be divorced from the solutions that we need for the planet, whether it's social justice, whether it's how we treat animals, whether it's climate, whether it's even just the very fabric of the economic system and our money. Like, in order for these things to evolve to the states that we need them to go to, we have to evolve our own consciousness as well.
Well, that warms my heart to know that that's where things are going, and seeing you go in that direction, and, you know, being a trailblazer for technology to take that path is really encouraging for the future. And, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty about the future and technology and where we're going and what we're creating. But if you're, I'm doing it in a conscious way and calling in these higher vibrational energies, I know it's going to be a positive experience. And speaking of positive experiences, you had a positive experience on Kauai. You were on a hike with Sean and had a special experience with the dolphins. And it just blows my mind the way, I mean, you talk about virtual reality, but to me, it almost feels like we're in the virtual reality world. And it's really like we're playing with reality, we're playing with nature, we're playing with spirit, we're playing with intention, we're playing with the forces, the law of the universe and law of attraction, and putting intention and having things manifest in ways that we couldn't even imagine. So tell us about your experience with Sean and the dolphins.
Well, I mean, I was out hiking on the Kalalau Trail, which is on the North Shore. It's pretty remote, but the first couple hours are leading to a beach called KAB, I believe it's
Hanakapiai.
Hanakapiai Beach, right? And it's remote. You know, it's a good 2 hours, hour and a half hike from anything. So there's no cell phone service or anything. And we were just there. There's a river that comes into the ocean, and the waves were very big that day. And it was pretty great. But the thing that was crazy is we're sitting there talking, and Sean, he's Hawaiian, and you know, he was a lifeguard, and so he has a pretty good sense of the water. And I kept saying I wanted to go out on these rocks, and he's like, no, the waves are too big. You have to really respect the ocean. And but I wanted to get to this little cave around these rocks, and he was not having it. So we're just sitting on these rocks in the middle of this river that comes into the beach that then feeds into the ocean. So you have all this energy from the mountains hitting this extreme energy from the ocean. And all of a sudden, this dolphin just comes flying up out of the waves onto the beach. We're not talking about, like, it was just the wildest thing. I mean, he skidded in on about this much water, like, and quite far up. And dolphins are very heavy, as I now know. You can't lift one.
Like 800 pounds.
This poor female dolphin she was very likely being chased in from a shark. So she went beyond the ridge line, the reef line, and the surf line to get away where the shark couldn't get in on the other side of the waves. But she ended up on, you know, I said to my friends later, it was like she'd had a near-death experience. So she's, you know, gone back to her
wound up
pod.
in an alternate reality.
Yeah, and she's like, what are these creatures here? And it was really amazing. You know, Sean was very adamant that we get the dolphin back out over the wave line. I did not think it was possible. There were other people trying to help move the dolphin back in. It took us probably an hour to an hour and a half, several attempts to get her back in the water, you know, kind of wait for a wave. And it happened just at the high tide mark. So it was very scary because the waves were then going out and there were less waves coming in to be able to even float her back into ankle deep or chest deep or waist deep water. And she was obviously very, very tired. The waves were huge that day. So, you know, we finally.
And you said that she kind of gave up, right? She kind of was like exhausted, tired.
Probably the third time, she was just like, you know, straight in, just way up the beach. But we really held it there. And Sean had worked with dolphins a little bit before, so he's like, you have to be calm. You have to send energy into this dolphin because if it senses you are agitated, it will pick that up. But I think it was actually much more beyond that. Like the second it's hard to explain. It's almost like it was telepathic. Like as soon as I was like intentionally telepathically communicating with the dolphin, put my hand on the dolphin, and then I actually did a Reiki symbol into the dolphin.
Yeah, I love that part. I love that part.
And immediately the dolphin would relax. And then if somebody new would come up, she would get very agitated again. And then I put my hand on her again and she would relax. And she knew that obviously we were trying to help her. I was very worried about her fin because, you know, all that weight on the sand, I thought that maybe one of her fins would be damaged or hurt because she was lying on her side for most of it. I mean, she just couldn't even swim. But finally, she kind of got back in and she almost made it out over the waves. And then she got dragged back in again. And at that point, I was like, it's never going to happen. But, you know, my friend Sean, he's an example of persistence. He wouldn't give up to the point where he was really too far out. I was worried he was going to get washed away because these waves were like towering over his head, you know, like.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, the dolphin made it into like a little cove and where we thought she would be smashed against the rocks, but there was a rip there. And so the last thing we saw, she just a little fin and straight out. And she made it back out.
Awesome.
So it was really
that's
wonderful.
Such an awesome story. I love that. And the fact that it happened to you, who's working on this dolphin virtual reality world, I think it's just like a testimonial from the dolphins, a little mahalo and thank you for all that you're doing for the dolphins and raising the consciousness and all the work you're doing. I think it's a testimonial.
It was really weird because we both had dreams about dolphins the next like 2 nights.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And for me, I just imagined this dolphin going back and, I mean, it was really amazing feeling like a telepathic connection to an animal like that. They're obviously very intelligent, but to have one in such distress, I don't know how anybody could kill a dolphin. Like they talk about, you know, killing dolphins in Japan and stuff, and it just breaks my heart even more now because they're so intelligent. And I really felt like this dolphin was communicating telepathic with me. I think she wanted to give up, and we were like, you can't give up. You've got to go back out there. And, you know, maybe she only made it another day, but I don't think they often they will get back out, I think, if they get washed up, but not when the tide is going out, right? Because she would have been hours on the sand and they have to be kept wet. So we were pouring water on her, and just knowing that she made it back out and hopefully she, you know, is out there still. But we just had this sense of like her going back to her pod and talking about the way we would talk about a near-death experience and how you saw something on the other side.
Right. I saw this bright light and there was sand and
everything was green. But they wouldn't have a color for green, right? I don't know. It was really fun. But it just felt good to be able to do a little something for nature. We do so much harm to nature. You know, at least something is good.
That was a gift. Seriously, Sam. That was a gift. And then you said that Sean was doing a meditation beforehand.
Well, we were both meditating before.
Oh, both of you were meditating before, and he was like...
We opened our eyes, and about 10 seconds later, this dolphin comes flopping up.
And he was calling in Poseidon and the water gods and everything else, and he felt really connected to the water. And then...
Well, he literally just said, like, oh, yeah, I feel really connected to all this water. Because I asked him if he thought that the ocean was conscious and whether or not there is a consciousness to the ocean itself, because I've never thought of the ocean of having its own consciousness the way that I now believe nature or like trees have a consciousness. Like I think that trees have a connected consciousness, but I've never thought of the ocean itself of having its own intelligence in a very abstract and different way than what we're used to, not like human intelligence. And so I asked him, I'm like, do you think that the ocean has a consciousness or its own kind of energetic force? And he was like, of course I do. And I've always felt a connection to Neptune and Poseidon. And then as he said that, this dolphin like landed in front of us.
That is just crazy. That is crazy. Most people go out to swim with the dolphins or connect with the dolphins. You had the dolphins totally fly in right on your lap practically and connect with you. So such a beautiful experience. Yeah, I mean, to think of the ocean as a consciousness is like, I mean, if you think of our bodies, you know, being what, 70% water, you know, it has, I know our bodies have our own consciousness, and yeah, why not the ocean too? And everything is energy. That's one thing that we learn in Reiki, you know, everything is energy. So yeah, it's all part of that energy and that vibration and everything else. Well, oh God, Stan, this was an amazing time with you. I really enjoyed our conversation. I've enjoyed our interaction the whole time that you've been here, 6 months, and really getting to know you and what you're doing and HubCulture and HubCulture Chronicles. It's so nice. I was interviewed by you. People can go on HubCulture Chronicles podcast and find that. And anything else you want to share, or how they can reach you, or any other?
Well, I mean, the easiest way is to just become a member of HubCulture.com. It's a open and free community, and you can use your Hub ID, your digital identity, then to access our digital currency, our exchange, the social network, and of course, Emerald City and this emerging virtual reality world that we're all creating together.
Yes, awesome. And yeah, look forward to the retreat. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be having one of many, I'm sure, with this, which will just keep growing as we add more content into our virtual reality retreat. Probably going to happen the first week of December. Stay tuned. All right. Well,
thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you, Stan. Thanks for being here. We look forward to more adventures together and more stories to hear. Hui hou, everybody. Aloha from Kauai.